How are ya? It's Jill Abramovitz here. I played Maxine and Juno in Beetlejuice. And I just want to say, as gorgeous as it is outside, just don't go out there.
It's showtime.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. Happy spooky season. Let's get into the film review. We are kicking off October and spooky season with Brother Brian's pick. Brian, you announce your pick and why you picked it?
Well, it's showtime. It's October, I thought. And what's a good way to get the spooky season kicked off but going back to Nico's only year of cinema that he likes, 2024. And I went with the GOAT, Tim Burton's, his sequel to Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice 2, or as the straights call it, Beetlejuice. And as I said in our OG review back at don'tgoouthere.com, episode 157, I loved the original as a younger gentleman. I rated the OG a 9.5. I actually think we all rated it a high, except Nico. And did this live up to its 36-year predecessor? Yeah, in my opinion. But if you listen to our top movies released in 2024 year-end show, you already knew that. But I think Burton and company did a great job crafting the sequel. I think for all the casting, I thought it was absolutely perfect. What a loaded cast, too. Quickly, though, the runtime does feel a tad bloated for me. I think this could have honestly been 2 movies. And there are a few things I didn't love, and I wish that there was some way they could have gotten the Maitlands in the movie from the first one. But, I get it. I think Burton said he felt like no amount of de-aging would have them, made them believable as being the same age as they were earlier. But I point to Ghostbusters Afterlife and Harold Ramis. That's a counterpoint there. But anyway, I love it. I think it's a worthy sequel. I think it's going to get high praise from me. # Justice for Bob.
Yeah, I'll go next. And I'm in the very small minority, like I told Brian, that I like the sequel better than the original. Hot take, but I don't care. I just have a really good time with this movie. And personally, I think the first one just spends too much time with the Maitlands. I just don't care. Like, I want to know more about Beetlejuice and what he's got going on. I've already said ad nauseum how great of a theater experience I had seeing this opening night in Dolby Digital. It was fantastic. I had a great time with it. I had a good time rewatching it for this review as well. So I'll probably be the highest rated, and I'm good with that. Mike, what'd you think?
First of all, happy spooky season, everyone. This is kind of obviously one of our favorite months of the year. I would say probably all of our favorite month of the year, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, happy spooky season. And look, I like the first Beetlejuice. It's not like a classic for me. I didn't spend a ton of time watching it growing up. I saw it here and there, and I like it. And I think Michael Keaton is great in this role, and I think he continues to be great in this role. It was almost uncanny how he just picked up the role right back where he left it and was really spot on to what you mentioned, the 36-year gap. I think the movie is good in spots. It's got some downtime to me. I think, I want more Keaton, right? And when the movie starts to go that direction we're already an hour in, when we go to the afterlife and we're in that, Burton world that, sometimes I like, sometimes I don't like that, depending on the film, how the aesthetic and the look of how Burton makes the afterlife look. But I think when we're in that realm, I enjoy the movie more. It's more fun. When we take these normal characters and put them in the afterlife and Beetlejuice's world, I think it really works. Some of the stuff, the first 30 to 40 minutes, does feel like a bloated runtime to me. Not that I don't care about those characters, but I feel like we can trim that down, make me care about them, and then let's get to Michael fucking Keaton and Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder and all these guys playing off of each other, right? So I actually like some of the writing that people have a problem with. I like what they do with Ortega's love interest. I like all of that stuff. I just feel like we take longer to get there than I would have preferred. But it is good, and I enjoy the ride for sure.
I think it's a decent movie. It's definitely, to me, nowhere near as good as the first one. And this one falls in. Brian and I have had this conversation a lot over the past couple of years about my disdain for sequels. And he's like, yeah, but it's given us some good ones. You to miss out on this, and this. This is one of those that, I think is a good movie, but I would have been okay with missing out on. It didn't do enough for me. I think the story was too many moving parts. You had way too many storylines going on for me to care about any of them as much as I should have. Nico, it's interesting you say that you thought the first one didn't have enough Beetlejuice. They had the same amount of screen time in both movies, 17 minutes. But I get what you're saying. The first one to me is a movie I grew up with and is endeared to me. The second one is just one that I thought was okay, but I didn't love it.
Really quick, I agree with both of you where I think Keaton doesn't get enough screen time in either one of these movies. That character of Beetlejuice, I'm not saying you have to Michael Myers that thing where you build the whole franchise around the, quote, bad guy, I guess, even though Beetlejuice is kind of not really bad, but whatever. That's the most fun character. It's the most zany character, and I think it's what puts people in the theater for. And so to only give the Keaton 17 minutes for each film is noticeable, especially in this movie, which is about 15 to 18 minutes longer than the original. So more Keaton. If they are making a third one, Burton, I know you're a listener of the show here, Tim, so just listen up. Let's go ahead and double that Keaton screen time for me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I think that Tim Burton went to the Ranch Wilder school of thought there. Less is more. That's why he didn't have more Beetlejuice. That's Angels in the Outfield reference, Nico. But to your other point there.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The cast of Angels in the Outfield is just incredible. Adrian Brody and Matthew McConaughey are in that movie. That's insane. But anyway, to your other point, Mike, I'll just go ahead and say this is one of my fun facts. I'll just knock it out. Though cast members seemed enthusiastic about a potential third film to be titled Beetlejuice, 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 Tim Burton said, let's do the math. It took 35 years to do this, so I'll be over 100. But I guess it's possible with science these days, but I don't think so. Thank you, Tim Burton. Thank you. Do not
That's
do
fair.
it.
That's fair. And if they do make another one, it better be titled Beetlejuice, 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 Beetlejuice. By God, if it's not named that, I'm not going to see it just off principle. But I don't know. The 17-minute thing is interesting because I don't know. Maybe just in this second movie, I just liked his scenes more because he was funny as hell to me. Recapping how he met Dolores, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah,
and
he was so good in this movie.
The couples therapy session, I think is really good too. I don't know, maybe they just stand out more in this movie to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Keaton's performance in this. And
when he's using
think about when the first first movie came out and your disdain for that time period. This movie came out in your favorite year ever. I get it.
I'm gonna take some time and debunk this fucking theory that I hate the 80s because it's not true.
He really hates the 90s.
Sorry,
you guys got it all
there.
wrong. He hates the 90s. That's the one.
I mean, I really do.
He hates everything pre his high school years.
Pretty
That's
much.
not true at all. It's not true at all. Anyway, let's jump into the scene by scene. The film starts with singing and a groovy opening credits to the Beetlejuice theme. Opening credits as we get an overhead shot of our town. The camera is going through the streets now as we make it to the Dietz house. We're with Lydia, who is doing her show called Ghost House. She's with Emmett and Jody Welch, and she shows the audience footage from their ghost house until she sees Beetlejuice in the crowd and panics. She has to take a break, and her boyfriend, Rory, escorts her off the stage. She goes to the bathroom and sees a ghost Nadia with a knife in her head. She hides her pills from Rory, and he tries to guilt trip her. She asks if she can take them just one more time, and he concedes and pops some himself. They kiss, and she gets several texts from her mom that her father is dead. She taxis to her art museum, and Delia is distraught and deals with Picasso of Graffiti's tantrum after canceling. We see claymation of how Dad died in the ocean. He survived the plane crash, but got his head bitten off by a shark. Le Tigre is fuming, leaving, but falls into an open manhole pit. He's a ghost now, and he asks the janitor where he's at and is given directions where to go. The janitor takes a swig of Drano and buffs the floor in the Lost and Found. He hits water, and it causes a spark and tosses him, and then knocks over some crates. We see pieces of Dolores' body emerge and sew and staple themselves together as the Bee Gees' tragedy plays. Call me sometime, Monica Bellucci. Sorry, Mike, you can't have her. Don't even try it, brother. She walks over to the janitor and grabs his throat and asks, "Where's Beetlejuice?" No answer, and she sucks the soul out of him. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Yeah, okay, so right off the bat, I'd like to point out that the white outer glow on the copper plate Gothic font is a carryover from the original Beetlejuice, which came out in 1988, of course, and the exact template used in Ghostbusters 2 in 1989. And the carryover of that whole open overhead shot of the town as well. Using a miniature, but also having things move in it, I thought was a very nice choice there by Burton, kind of countering what we did in the first one. And I just also have to shout out the man, Danny Elfman. He's a signature on this Burton 89 Batman poster behind me. Top 2 composer of all time, in my opinion. Maybe 1. I don't know. Awesome to see Ryder again. And fun fact, Ghost House is the name of her show. That was also almost the name of the original movie. Apparently, Burton had to fight for the name Beetlejuice, according to, I believe it was a writer in an interview he did. And I'm pretty sure I have a fun fact at the end about the one condition Ryder had for signing up for Stranger Things that had to do with this movie, so stay tuned for that. But, okay, so, first set of scenes. And this is one of the things I didn't like. Of course we can't get Jeffrey Jones back. We don't want the pedo back. But just write him out and say he died. I just don't think that we need this elaborate stop motion segment here showing it at all. And I don't think that we need him headless later. Maybe I'm alone in that, but to me that this is too goofy, and just having him have died, I think was enough. I felt like this was too much of a major point in the movie. Like, I did not need this whole side story here going on. That's all. It is great to see Catherine O'Hara again, though. Such a huge part of my childhood. But also, more recently, Schitt's Creek has almost ruined her for me, because her character in this, hell, her character in that is almost exactly all I can think about in this while seeing her in this movie, because she plays it just exactly the same almost. And I wrote Danny DeVito in all caps. I always wondered what happened to the Penguin after Batman Returns. Here is the answer. Cleaning floors in the afterlife, but getting your soul sucked out by Monica Bellucci. What a way to go. And that sounded dirtier than I meant it. So I didn't mean it that way. But decent opening. Would have been better without the goofy Charles Dietz death thing. And honestly, did we need that elaborate putting the body back together scene for Dolores? Or could we have just had her walk into the, with the Bee Gees playing? I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, I actually really like the opening credits here. It puts me in the mood for this Burton spooky universe, this fun spooky universe that we get. It is really perfect for early October. So right away, I'm like, this is the kind of movie that I'm looking forward to. And Winona and O'Hara, or Ryder and O'Hara, reviving or reprising their roles, I think is such a huge thing. So if you're going to make a sequel 36 years later, you're obviously going to have to introduce new characters. But I do think that, all right, see, I got to turn my text notifications off like I normally do during this show. Son of a bitch. Anyway, but I think it adds a lot. And I think her being a, quote, ghost hunter for television is almost perfect, right? It's like, yeah, she was this weird outcast goth kid in the first one. What's, like the rest of us who may have been a little odd at some point in our life, we kind of turned out pretty normal, or, doing something that's, maybe they don't want to, but they have a gift, so you might as well use it. I feel like that's the one here. And seeing Lydia in a relationship like this as an adult also super odd, and took some getting used to at first. But again, it's 36 years later. Brian, you kind of touched on it. I think we're all going to touch on it, so I might as well go ahead. They spent a lot more time on Jeffrey Jones's character of Charles than I thought they were going to, than I thought they should have. I think this is a really easy one. You just kill the motherfucker and let it be. It's real simple. I don't think he was that important of a character, to be honest, in the first one. And so killing him off, because O'Hara's way more eccentric, Ryder's way more important, and you have Jenna Ortega here as Astrid. I mean, those are all heavyweights, right? We don't need really him at all, right? So, and we have Keaton, of course. So, again, just really wish they would have made him, you know what? If you want to write in that he dies horrifically like they try to in this movie, that's great. But I don't think it would have, I don't think it helps to just have him in there that much. And shout out to Danny DeVito. He's just kind of doing whatever he wants now, right? He's doing bit roles and Beetlejuice. He's the Jersey Mike's guy. He's just kind of still working, which I can appreciate for someone his age. I actually think the staple back together scene for Dolores here is really good. I think the effects look good. I actually enjoyed it. But anyway, since I've had a bad week, I'm just going to say it. Brian, you're more than welcome to cut it.
Yeah, I thought the opening credits were good. The model of the town and the fly-through, it was just so authentic to the first one. And I didn't catch it, but I read that if you look closely as they're flying through, you can see the Maitlands, like they're in the little town. So I thought that was cool. I like that Lydia has a TV show like this. Like, it makes a lot of sense. It's good character development for her. And I also immediately hate Rory. Can immediately tell he's an enabler riding her coattails for his own best interests, and he's a perfect, I guess, third antagonist of the movie. I don't know. I really like the explanation that they gave for Jeffrey Jones' absence. Like, he's a dirtbag. And honestly, like you guys said, and I say it multiple times, like, that's all we need. Just say that he died. Give us that claymation. I thought the switch to animation was a good way to portray him without really having to show him. So, but that's all we need. And that gives us an excuse enough to go back to the house, everything. We don't need any other mention of him. Shout out to Danny DeVito. Always glad to see him on my screen. He is a legend. Shout out to Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Great show. The effects on Dolores coming together, they look consistent to the original movie, but they also look kind of cartoonish. But consistency is key, so it didn't bother. Like, I thought it looked good. It looked good for this movie. And, yeah, it's a solid enough open.
We're at Astrid's school now, and she's ignoring her alleged mom's call. She gets pranked by classmates with a jump scare of a ghost falling from the door. She roasts them, saying they're going to be single moms in the future, as she sits at her desk looking at a picture of her and her dad. Rory, Lydia, and Delia are heading to her school as Rory tries to pull some psychiatry mumbo-jumbo. They make it to the school, and Delia yells to Astrid to stop being cruel to her mother. Your grandpa died, and she starts weeping and making a scene. Astrid joins them as she finds out Delia plans to sell off everything as a grief collective. Astrid says she can't go because she's got to lead her environmental organization. Lydia sees Beetlejuice again but collects herself. Astrid asks her to not be a freak, and we transition to nighttime as we cut to the man, Beetlejuice. Bob greets him and is told how difficult relationships can be. Beetlejuice is needed upstairs and takes a seat. Wolf Jackson talks about the movie business until he brings up his name in a case, and it shows him Dolores' sketch. He panics but says he doesn't recognize her. He's taken to the crime scene, and his name is shown on the wall. She's a soul sucker. You can say that again. Day-o, day-o, the choir sings as Father Damien leads Charles' funeral service. Damien tries to console Delia as Lydia goes to Astrid. She comforts her as they talk about death and life. Astrid calls her out for avoiding conversations about Dad. She doesn't understand why she can't see him. Charles goes to a dry cleaner, but he's told to wait in waiting room. I'm allowed to make that joke because I am Asian. Dry cleaner man is ticked and hears noises. Dolores emerges and sucks the soul out of him as well. She takes the opportunity to find herself a new dress and colors it black. Beetlejuice is stressing over his ex-wife being back and tells us their story. During the plague, he'd robbed graves and he met Dolores. They got married, drank each other's blood, bit chickens' heads off, and on their wedding night, she put that thing on him. He found out she was the leader of the soul-sucking cult. After drinking the drink, he realized he drank poison. He killed her and they parted ways, but she's back and she's pissed. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
Now, I mean, look, truthfully, when I heard that Jenna Ortega had been cast in this movie, I distinctly remember saying, my God, she better be Lydia's daughter, because that is the absolute perfect casting, and it truly, truly is. She's absolutely the perfect choice for this role. I did think it was a nice little Easter egg to see that sculpture thing from the first movie outside Lydia's dorm. I remember that thing walking around in the OG and looking like a hugger from Alien. You guys know? We know some Alien around here now. And something else, as I see Keaton as Beetlejuice return for the first time in 36 years here, and he looks perfect, by the way, but something else I'm glad they did in this was keep his non-politically correctness, I guess if that's a way to put it. I think Burton said in the commentary that it was a big sticking point for he and Keaton because despite movies being so different now in that way, that was a trait that they loved, and logically he wouldn't evolve, right? So, shit, you know how much I got in trouble when I was little because I used to go, nice fucking model, from that movie? Oh, fucking great. I read something else I wish they'd been able to do in the script here when Beetlejuice is back in the waiting room upstairs. Brad Pitt was supposed to have a cameo as his character who had gotten shot in the head from Burn After Reading. Spoiler alert, I guess. He gets shot in the head. But scheduling couldn't make that happen. Didn't Brad Pitt date Winona Ryder back in the day? Oh, wait, no, that was Johnny Depp. My bad. Never mind. Strike that from the record. I like the funeral scene, the Return of the Banana Song. But again, I didn't need to see headless Charles Dietz in the dry cleaners. We've said that a million times, but I wrote it down here because I didn't need that part. You know who I thought Bellucci looked like in this scene? Donna from That 70s Show. What's that actress's name? Laura Prepon, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Watch it again. You'll see it. I think she looked just like her in that scene. And I loved Beetlejuice telling this flashback in. Was that Italian? Yeah, I loved it. So well done. That's all I had.
I also like the casting choice of Ortega. It's just kind of weird occasionally the fact that she's still able to pull off this age range, right? Because she is older than this by, 4 to 5 years now or so whenever they filmed this movie. It may not be too far off. I could be wrong, but it's just a little odd. I like that Astrid is a much different character than Lydia. Their contrast really, really works for me. As Lydia was their parents' weird kind of goth child. Astrid is her, I just want to be normal and I don't believe in this shit child, that's how it would work, right? Of course, that's how it would work. I like that she opens her phone from a text and it's under alleged mom. And it's like, yeah, it's a very on the nose thing there. Look, I would be so embarrassed if my grandma got out of the car and shouted out at school in front of everybody that she lost her horny handyman. That is a tough one. And we could, never mind. I was going to say something about Jeffrey Jones, but I won't right there. And I like, Brian, maybe I'm wrong because I didn't look it up because I'm not the research guy on the show. You guys are. So they didn't use de-aging for anybody, correct? Because if not, I like that call. I like that they didn't try to age down Keaton for Beetlejuice. I like that they, everyone looks like they've aged 36 years, including Beetlejuice. And I really like that choice to go ahead and do that. By the way, they never explained the rules here. How do you become dead? If you're already dead, there's like another level of being dead. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but I will say this. I did find it funny, for lack of a better term, that Nico's kinfolk, even in the afterlife, still running the dry cleaners, man. Come on. Like, they have other skills and traits, man. All right? That's all I'm saying. One thing I don't normally care about.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure they've got nail salons down there too.
I knew that shit was coming.
and Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
Hey, the thing about Chinese restaurants is it don't matter what you order; it's done in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
10 men.
It'd be 10 minutes.
It's 10 men.
10 minute.
10 men.
It'd be 10
That's
minutes.
all I get here from Milton. 10 men.
Shout out to all our Asian listeners, all two of
That's
you.
right.
Appreciate you.
10 men.
That's
That's
right.
Mike's dream.
Whoa.
Would you relax?
Sorry. He said 5 guys wasn't enough.
All right. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
One thing I normally don't like, whether it be sequel, prequel, whatever, is too much lore building of one character. We kind of talked about that. Like once you reveal why the boogeyman is the boogeyman, I don't find him to be all that scary. But Beetlejuice isn't that kind of character, right? So learning more backstory, his story with Dolores, kind of starting to peel back some onions of how Beetlejuice became who he became, I think is interesting and actually works for this movie in particular. And I will say I love this backstory scene with him and Dolores. I think Keaton is great. He's hilarious here. I hated that I had to read subtitles for some of it, but whatever. It still worked. And I will say Monica Bellucci, normally in Nico's age range, I'll let him have her, but whew, what a man. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of my hottest takes about this movie is that I don't think Jenna Ortega was that great in it. I love her, and I think she is a great actress. But this was one of her weakest performances to me. Like it felt like her scenes, she just phoned it in. And I don't know. I felt that way in the theater. And so I thought maybe on a second watch I would feel differently. I just didn't. Can't figure it out. I hated the whole, I just lost my own grandfather 40 years ago. Like that line bothered me. I don't know why it bothered me so much, but that was just so corny. Showing up to campus and just yelling until you find someone is outrageous. I would disown every one of those wackos. I don't know these people. Never seen them before in my life. When we finally see Beetlejuice and Bob, that was a welcome sight. The humor, the presentation, just everything felt right. Love that scene. One of my biggest gripes with the movie, though, is that I feel like the multiple, I said it earlier, the multiple storylines that we're following at once, it just waters the movie down. So I don't love the direction that the story went here. It was funny that they sang Deo at Charles's funeral. I did like that, but again, that's all we needed of it. Like if you have to show the funeral, okay, that's fine, but we don't need his picture on the tombstone. I don't want to see that creep anymore ever. And then leave it there. The flashback to Beetlejuice's weddings and that stuff, that was very well done. Again, very consistent with the original, funny, really liked it. I didn't love this set of scenes, but I didn't hate it either.
That's fair. Overhead daylight shots of the Dietz house that's covered in a mourning shroud. Rory tries to talk to Astrid about her heart and head's condition and offers help, but she mocks him with a burp. He keeps on offering his help, but Astrid ain't having it, calling him out for the lie of the poem. She walks off after cutting his cornbread. We're outside now as Delia greets townsfolk who offer her beer. Jane says everyone wants a chance to buy the house. Astrid says ghosts aren't real unless you try to pay the bills. Rory addresses everyone about Charles and randomly proposes to Lydia. He wants to get married in 2 days on Halloween. Lydia is hesitant at first, and it's awkward as he brings up the death of his grandfather from 40 years ago. Astrid is fed up with Lydia, who hesitantly accepts the proposal. The crowd claps, and Astrid rides her bike away into town. I'm not going to make any comments. I'll leave them to Dustin, but Astrid ends up going off-road and crashes through a fence and face first into a tree. She's greeted by a young lad named Jeremy, who checks on her. They're both fans of Crime and Punishment and start chatting in his treehouse. Jeremy is shocked that her mom is Lydia Dietz, calling her a legend. She apologizes for the fence, and Jeremy shoots his shot and says he'll be here tomorrow if she wants to come hang out again. Dolores is looking for Mr. Juice still and scares everyone in the hall. Wolf is at the dry cleaners investigating, and he says cases like this make him question why he's a cop. Beetlejuice is at the office having his staff barricade the doors. Bob is dressed as Beetlejuice to be a decoy so he can escape if need be. He sees Charles' obituary and seizes the moment. Rory hears Delilah. Sorry about that. Rory hears Delia screaming, so he runs full speed to the house and finds her doing screaming exercises while being photographed. It's for the collective. Rory checks on them to Delia's dismay and leaves. Astrid hears of the loophole the Maitlands took and moved on. Astrid goes into the attic and finds the model city. She looks through a box with the name Richard and finds pictures of her and her parents. Lydia joins her, and she asks if she can keep the picture book. Lydia finds a flyer Astrid found, and she scolds her for saying his name twice and forbids her from the attic. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
Hey there, Delilah.
I don't know where I got Delilah from. Yeah, I can't read. Sorry about that, guys.
This shot of the house with the veil over it, what a shot. And it's so Delia. I mean, it fits so perfect. And again, I can't separate this character from Moira on Schitt's Creek. I mean, it's literally the same character. It's nuts. Charles hated public displays of emotion, as the entire house is covered in a mourning shroud is classic. Now, this next part I thought was really cool, mostly because I guess being nostalgic and getting to see the town of Winter River, which we saw super briefly in the original when Baldwin went for that model piece. And god damn, that stunt crashing into the tree from the bike looked like it hurt. Shout out to Juliana Ramos Ortiz and Nada Scalzi, the stunt doubles for Jenna Ortega in this. But seeing the fall's leaves here gives me this jolt of atmosphere. I don't know, calms me. Is that weird? Makes me glad I picked this in October, but I liked that. It was nice. The transition underground after we meet Jeremy in his weird treehouse was great too. But did I miss it? Because I'm pretty sure they never actually said Jeremy's name in this set of scenes. Like no introductions except that she was Lydia Dietz's daughter, unless I missed that. But Arthur Conti, who plays him, he was in the Carrie remake as well. I haven't seen that, but something I did notice here, that damn sculpture that was at the college is back in the Dietz yard again. Like, I guess Delia made two? I don't know. I also love how Burton shoots the hallway to the attic the same way he did in the first one. I like that consistency. They did such a good job recreating all of this, including the music cues. Very nostalgic, but yet tying it to the new with the photo album part. I like the set of scenes, although I feel like a lot could have been cut from the first two, so this came earlier in the movie. That's my only nitpick.
Yeah, kind of like Dustin already mentioned here. I think that Rory is a creep, I don't know how else to explain it, but he's definitely in it for the money, and you can tell. I mean, it was a dead giveaway that something with him was not on the up and up. If it were any other goofy movie, he has the look of like a movie villain or like a movie good guy that ends up being a vampire at the end. Like that's how he looks to me for some reason. Where it's like, oh yeah, this guy was a vampire the whole time. That's how.
Did you say that you wanted me to pick another vampire movie?
I would never.
I think that's what I think.
Hey, if you pick Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire from the Disney Channel, yeah, I'll watch that.
We need a movie where there's an alien invasion, but also a vampire epidemic in a zombie apocalypse.
There you go. That's perfect.
I'm already getting sick that week. Sorry. Anyway, oh God. We've pretty much had it with these infectious diseases. Everybody becomes a vampire. We fucking had 10 of those over the summer. Thanks, Brian. I do want to say O'Hara is great in this role. This like over dramatic stuff. You mentioned her character from Schitt's Creek. She plays basically the same character here, in my opinion. Maybe even a little more over the top. I love the way that she plays this character. She's so, again, over dramatic. I think O'Hara, I'm glad that she's back here in this role. I don't believe that a house does carry a soul, but I did think it was hilarious that they put this shroud, this black shroud over the house like it died too or something. I thought that was funny. Hey man, I was kind of like in on Astrid here in the beginning of the movie, but when she said that ghosts don't exist, I said, this might be my people right here, man. This is what I'm talking about. She was out here spitting facts. I will say number one rule, golden rule, not golden shower, golden rule. Don't turn a funeral or wake into something that's about yourself. Just a terrible thing to do. This is how I knew that Rory was not on the up and up, because no sane person would do something like this. And I'll just say, a high school girl running into a boy on her bike never ends well. Have these people never seen Juno? We saw how that ended up. Anyway, I don't like that they used a picture of Jeffrey Jones here again. We get it, man. He's dead, and I know that's kind of like a main, his death is kind of like a main focal point, at least of the first hour of this movie. But I just don't want him used in the way they decide to use him. So that, it does affect my score, because I do think it was unnecessary. Like, we just don't need it. Again, going back to the same house that everything took place in is a requel staple at this point, right? Scream does it. Halloween does it. Like, everybody goes back to whatever house that the original movie took place in. And I think it works here as well. Here's the Beetlejuice sign, which I miss hanging above Brian's head. I need him to put that back over, man, because those always made for really good screen grabs. Well, I mean, hey, we're doing an audio medium, so you can't see it, but I do like that you have it hanging up, buddy. Last thing, this O'Hara and Ryder, their mother-daughter relationships, one of the worst we've covered in a while, man. Like, but I love their chemistry. Love seeing them on screen together. You could tell they were having a really fun time making this movie and being together again as full-grown adults. I thought that was probably really fun for them.
I hated the interaction here between Rory and Astrid. Like, I just wasn't a fan of it. I felt it was so unnecessary. However, I did like when he spoke out front of the house and then proposed. Like, that's so distasteful that it's perfect for his character. Like, I really like that. But it leads to yet another storyline. So we've already got 2 in the works, and here's a third. Astrid takes off on her bike, and don't get me started about women drivers, but she meets Jeremy, and at first it didn't bother me, but there's too many moving parts once we find out where this is heading, what it leads to. So I end up not being like, I don't know, pick 1, pick 2, but 3, 4 is just too much. Beetlejuice making Bob be his decoy, I thought that was funny, but also sad. My God, Bob deserved better. There is some entertaining stuff here, but also it slowed down a bit due to establishing and following all these moving parts. So I didn't love this set of scenes.
Lydia is doing weird breathing exercises. Delia says she sounds like a moose. Astrid storms away as the mom and daughter chit-chat on their strained relationship. She tells Delia she's seeing Beetlejuice again, and Delia wonders where her little goth girl is. It's time to find her. Astrid makes it to Jeremy's house, and the two go up to his room. Astrid picks up the handbook for the recently deceased as she gets Jeremy's parents' story. He's ready to leave this shit town. He asks if Mama can see her dad's ghost, but she calls her a fraud. Jeremy asks if she wants to come over for Halloween. They can get pizza, give out candy, and she smiles. Rory joins Lydia and asks about all the birds. Lydia asks to keep the wedding small and private until Lydia's phone goes crazy, full of Beetlejuice pop-ups. She runs to the attic and tells him she wants him out of her life. She tells him her story with Beetlejuice. She doesn't know what to do, and she tells him to not say his name. He doesn't listen, and he says his name 3 times. They're outside a couple's therapy office now, and they fall below into his office. He sews her lips shut and starts a therapy session. He spills his guts on them as Lydia gives birth to baby Beetlejuice. He punts him away as Rory panics. Baby nibbles on Lydia's leg until she gets her lips unsewn. She says, home, 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 and Beetlejuice is singing Right Here by Bryan Adams to her. Rory awakes thinking it was a dream as Delia shows Astrid the box of asps that have been defanged. Lydia runs to them and says they're leaving. Go pack now and offers to hire movers. Gotta destroy the model town, though. Astrid doesn't want to leave because of her plans with Jeremy. She asks if she can go, and she says yes. Lydia and Delia chain, lock, and nail the door shut. Lydia drops Astrid off at Jeremy's house, and she tells her not to judge. They're persevering through a rough patch. If you know, you know. Astrid is told when she's getting picked up later and exits the car. Astrid goes into Jeremy's room and sees it's decorated. He says she looks beautiful for someone dying with radiation poisoning. He tells her he'd rather stay upstairs and not hand out candy. He leans in and kisses her ASAP. Man's had a plan, and we love to see it. She realizes they're levitating and panics. She realizes that he's a ghost and tells her how he died falling out his treehouse over 23 years ago. She's the first person to see him, and he begs her to stay. He tells her way that he can come back. It's all in this book. He says she can see her dad if she helps. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
This conversation at the start of this between Delia and Lydia cracked me up. Great writing, quick-witted. When she talked about Lydia's mom dying and Lydia saying she's still alive, and then they moved on. I don't know. Reminded me of a conversation we would have or something. It's funny. I love the writing there. But moving on to Jeremy's room. Hey, while we're on the 90s talking here, I think we missed an opportunity to do Jeremy Spoken by Pearl Jam there in the background. I don't know. I'm just saying. It was nice to see the handbook again. Our first real hint here, but admittedly, I did not catch this my first time watching. And I may or may not have a copy of that I'm looking at right now across from me. Little Easter egg there. Actually, a little Easter egg here. When Astrid opens up, it falls on 2 particular sections, which become very important at the end of the film. The section on the penal code Beetlejuice breaks when he enters the afterlife with Lydia, and the section on how to summon a sandworm. So, nice foreshadowing there. I love the cut back to Lydia's first reunion with Beetlejuice 2. Everything about that was fantastic. Great effects. Fun fact, did you know the voice of the little baby demon Beetlejuice was actually Tim Burton? Now you do. Sorry, I feel like I just summoned my inner Justin Nunley there. Actually, fun fact, my son played against his son in Travel Ball back before he got famous. Well, anyway. I love the reveal that Jeremy is dead. I kind of maybe wish it would have been something that, I don't know, we could have come later, maybe been a little more drawn out. But again, there's a lot going on in this movie. And like I said, it could have been probably 2 movies in my opinion. I don't know if that's crazy of me to say, but I don't know. Just seems crazy to have had so much, and we're only halfway through the movie at this point.
Yeah, so the first time I watched this movie, it definitely wasn't into the the teenage romance angle of this, right? Like I was like, this really, it doesn't feel like Beetlejuice, right? So like I was like, I don't know about this. Now I do like where it ends up, and I'll touch on that in a second. But back to when we were doing Bates Motel, taxidermy is just super weird to me, man. Like I will never understand, especially the birds. Okay, I guess so, whatever. And also, you could just tell that Rory fucking sucks. But he summoned Michael Keaton. We are finally getting some fucking Beetlejuice in this movie, and this therapy scene is awesome. Having Keaton use, and by awesome I mean having Keaton use like modern therapy terms like safe space, fucking cracked me up, man. I think it's hilarious. I will say, hey man, I kind of want to just start calling Beetlejuice BJ, but I won't do it because I'm not allowed to do that on this show. Anyway. But baby Beetlejuice, totally fucking disgusting. And again, I just love Keaton here. I love him in this world, this zany Tim Burton world that they built. I think he's great, and I would burn this house to the ground. I wouldn't want to sell it. I don't care about nothing else in it, and I definitely would burn the model in the attic. I'd burn all that shit. Fuck that. I like the reveal that he's a ghost. I actually think it works. It made me interested in that character because beforehand I was not. I think that was a really good writing choice in my idea. I knew it couldn't be all on the up and up, and it certainly wasn't. Also, when he reveals that he's a ghost, I was like, oh, is it going to be a nice ghost? No. As soon as he dangled the carrot of seeing her dad over her, I was like, oh, this guy's also a piece of shit.
Yeah, Lydia getting the Beetlejuice pop-ups on her phone, I thought that was great. This movie just needed to focus more on the juice and his ongoing pursuit of Lydia to me. Like, I love when Rory said his name 3 times and they got pulled into the model again, like more Beetlejuice-centered scenes. I thought that was fantastic. Him singing Right Here Waiting, that was hilarious with the voiceover. Incredible stuff. The revelation that Jeremy is a ghost was well done, but I don't want to keep harping on how badly overly convoluted I think things are, so I'm just going to leave it at that. It's very unfair of him to use Astrid's dad to manipulate her, though. But I will say, that's some good manipulation. This set of scenes had my favorite moment so far, and so I'll give it that, and we're moving along.
Did you hear how proud he was in his voice just then?
Oh, I was like a proud papa.
Exactly.
Hell yeah, brother. Lydia makes it back home as Delia does paperwork for the hour and asks if she's calling off the wedding. She's heading to the cemetery to communicate with her husband. Jane asks where's Astrid and finds out Jeremy's house is a murder house. He was bad news. 23 years ago, he murdered his parents. Lydia flees immediately as Astrid and Jeremy enter the afterlife through a hole in the wall. He tells her she has to read an incantation before entering. Lydia sprints upstairs after seeing his dead parents. They enter and the opening closes as Lydia enters the room. Lydia takes the book and runs off. Jeremy goes to get info on where they're going, immigration. Charles ironically sits before a guy bitten in half by a shark. Delia is doing rituals to Charles until she gets bitten by the asps that weren't defanged. Lydia goes upstairs in a panic as Rory gives out apples and carrot sticks for Halloween. Loser. Lydia says his name 3 times, and he splits the town open and emerges. She asks what the incantation means, and he says she traded her life so he can live. One-way trip to the Soul Train. He asks her to marry him to get Dolores away. She agrees, and he makes her put it in writing. He draws a circle on the wall and blows open a hole for him and Lydia to go into the office. He puts Bob on standby, and all the co-workers flee. Rory goes upstairs to see what's going on as all the workers run out of the house. Wolf is practicing his gunshot poses and lines. The alarm goes off, code 699 violation, and a live one broke into the afterlife. Wolf addresses the cops and puts them on duty. Delia wakes up in the afterlife, and she can't believe it. A trapped musician points her to the ticket line. Astrid takes a picture, and then she gets faint. She feels strange and realizes she got tricked into giving her life for his. She's furious and taken away to the Soul Train. She sees her dad, and they yell for each other. Dolores makes it to Beetlejuice's office and kicks his picture. She slams Lydia's picture to the ground as we see Bob cower under the desk. Beetlejuice directs Lydia to the Soul Train as he uses the bathroom, avoiding Dolores. Brian's next set of scenes, what do you think? Shout out to my man, Bob.
That's right, justice for Bob. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but there was no need to see Richard Dietz here again as we head back into the afterlife. I know I sound like a hater, but it's too cartoony to me. I'm glad to know you guys feel the same way. I don't have much on this set of scenes, so kind of beware their Mike. But I did think it was a nice gag to draw the bomb on the wall for Beetlejuice and Lydia to get to the afterlife. And listen, I'm probably 89% sure that he didn't say this in the first one, so I'm going to act like he didn't. But you know how long I've waited for Beetlejuice to say the juice is loose? I mean, look, I'm sure that they had to pay Starburst, or more exactly Mars Incorporated, for use of that slogan there, but that was money well spent. The juice is loose. Love it. I also thought it was funny that Beetlejuice just snapped his fingers and those desks moved away from the door when he went earlier. He had the shrunken head crew busting their ass to move them. And that, I don't know why that made me laugh so much, because they were just like, Bob was just like, what the fuck? Now, another nitpick, Astrid's dad. Look, I loved it. I loved him being in it, but I didn't love the fish attached to him. I don't know. I know that's kind of a weird thing, but again, it's just too cheesy. It's too cartoony for me. Story-wise, though, I liked it. I liked the plot point. I liked the set of scenes. It kind of bridges everything to the third act, but obviously I had some design choice nitpicks there.
And again, like I mentioned, they were waving a massive red flag over Mr. Jeremy here, and then revealed, that he's actually a murderer as well. So not only is he a ghost, but he's a murderer. I thought that was, again, I thought it was good writing. I will say that. And I thought that Jenna Ortega hit a funny line right here with the Merry Christmas to like the demon thing in the corner with the Santa outfit on. I thought that was funny. I enjoyed that. And the fact that the Afterlife has an immigration department also cracked me the fuck up. So there's a lot of comedy in this set of scenes. The juice is loose. If only there were another famous juice that it could be referencing that got loose a couple different times. Man, he ran for over 2,000 yards, man. My man Orenthal James, baby. Let's go.
And was framed for a murder.
That's what I'm saying. Found not guilty by a jury of his peers, mind you. May I be up? Just to remind you.
Glove didn't fit.
That's right, baby.
This is Chewbacca.
This is Chewbacca. All right, I'm off the rails. I'm reeling it back in. When it came out, I kind of was predicting that they may actually use Beetlejuice as a friend, right? Like someone to help them instead of him antagonizing them the whole time. And that ended up being right, where obviously he's the star of the show. You can't make him totally bad. And so the family kind of uses Beetlejuice to get where they want. And I think that was good as well. And I like the Shrunken Head crew. I think they're funny. But they would also make really good Halloween decor. So I need to look into that. That's a side note. Willem Dafoe is in the movie, and to me, that's all he really does, right? Like, he's just kind of here. I don't think his character is anything super memorable or special, which is unfortunate, because I feel like that's almost a waste of a really great actor. But anyway, then my man Jeremy double crosses. Better double cross Jeremy in this movie or The Rock at Survivor Series 1998. I'll let you be the judge. Kind of The Rock. I ain't gonna lie. The corporate champ, the corporate eyebrow, the corporate belt. Anyway, whatever. The afterlife in this movie looks like living in a big city. So hard pass on that. If there's an alternative to living in this space, if heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, I don't want to go. That's what I heard. Last thing here. I just think this set of scenes is one of my favorites, actually, because all of it does take place in this Burton-looking world that's creepy and fun and ridiculous and over the top. And I kind of like being in that world. So I thought this was, I won't say my favorite set of scenes, but I'm finally starting to get into the movie a little bit more.
I do like the way the Jeremy storyline unfolds for Lydia here, like seeing the pieces come together. I'll give credit where it's due. It was kind of funny that right as Astrid and Jeremy walked towards immigration, Charles walked in. Like they just missed each other. But Charles was unnecessary altogether. Like his storyline just way too much. Don't care. Stop. It's unnecessarily expanded way too much in this movie. Just tell us he died, leave it alone. Jeffrey Jones may not be in this movie, but it's forcing us to think of him with the constant involvement of his character. And that scumbag does not need a second thought. Pretty good tension when Astrid realizes what's happened and she's being taken to the Soul Train. I thought the Soul Train was funny. And then she sees her dad. And then more solid tension as Beetlejuice and Lydia are looking for Astrid while Dolores looks for Beetlejuice. It's like I like that. Multiple layers to that search scene. But yeah, we're moving along.
Yep, Soul Train time as we see ghosts dancing everywhere on the 835 to the great beyond. Astrid is in shock as she's pulled to the train. Lydia makes it to her and removes her from it. They hug and run from security. The two ladies exit a door and fall into a desert on one of Saturn's moons and are chased by the sandworm. Dad pulls them through a door above into a break room, shutting the door on the worm. The three have a coffee and Dad says, we made a great kid as they all hug. He says he checks on them all the time and doesn't want to drive them apart. Dad takes Astrid to get her life back so they can get to Winter River. Wolf is shown they captured Bob, and he goes to interrogate him. Wolf threatens him and yells, "Where's Beetlejuice?" Rory is walking around the town and is picked up by Father Damien, who sees how fearful he is in seeing all the small-headed people. Delia asks how can she get out of here. It's a mistake. She asks if anyone has the power to help her as she crashes out over being dead. She calls for Beetlejuice and asks for help to find Charles in the VIP lounge. Dolores finds Bob and asks where he is. No answer, so she sucks the soul out of him too. Justice for Bob. I actually met that actor, and he's a super nice guy. Jeremy is about to leave the afterlife until Beetlejuice stamps the passport shit out of luck and dumps him into hell below. Later, fucker. Dad leads Astrid and Lydia to a ladder so they can go back to the real world. They're in the cemetery, and Astrid thanks her for saving her life and apologizes to her mom. Brian's next set of scenes, and the next set is the ending. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Soul Train arriving to the Soul Train theme. Come on, that's great. That's fantastic. But I'm going to need Astrid to try to get off that train with a little bit more haste than she was giving, because that was ridiculous. I also verbally let out oh shit, sandworms. I forgot about those things the first time I watched this. I'm mixed on them going back and using stop motion for the sandworms. I memean, it looked better, and I'm glad they made it look better than the original, and that it's a Burton staple. I don't know. I'm mixed on it. The puppet was about 3 feet long and weighed nearly 14 pounds, though. So that's a little fun fact. Also, I was laughing my ass off at the mechanical seatbelt that was in the passenger's car. My first car, Mitsubishi Eclipse, had that in it. Classic. But come on. How are all these people threatening Bob and asking him to tell them things when he literally can't, man? He's got his mouth shut. And then he gets his soul sucked for no reason. Justice for fucking Bob, man. Like you said, Nico. Uncalled for. And would it be too much if I clipped this of Beetlejuice saying, "Later, fucker," and made it into our outro on the show? That would be classic. And, I don't know if they ever did it, but Beetlejuice Afterlife would be such an awesome house at Halloween Horror Nights. Time for the ending.
Hey, man. Not only do I have to live in this, what looks like a big crowded city, but now there's a flash mob on the Soul Train ruining my day. Come on, man. Anyway, there's just a lot going on. I kind of like the worm, okay? And I like that they brought it back. I was wondering how they were going to reintroduce it, and I think it works. It's kind of in a random place, this scene in the sand or desert or wherever the fuck they are. It is kind of in a random place, but it works for me. I think it's a nice callback to the original for sure. Them actually seeing her dad again, I actually think is a nice touching moment in the film where it came in a time where it could have used a little heart. And I think we get that here with, all of them hugging and seeing each other again. Hey man, yeah. Justice for Bob. But I mean, would anybody not let Monica Bellucci suck their soul out? I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
No question asked. Take me now.
Investigative journalism. That's all I'm doing right here. Okay. The later fucker is a great line. Maybe his best delivery of the whole movie. I thought that was awesome. And this dad just seems like such a nice dude, man. It's a touching moment. I don't have a lot on this set of scenes, but I am ready for the end, which I do. I do think the ending set of scenes, which we're going to get to, runs a little long in the tooth for me. I felt like I was kind of looking at the runtime. I'm like, oh, we're close. Oh, we're not that close to the end.
Yeah, I don't have much on this set of scenes. Good. It was good to see the sandworm make a return, but at the same time, it does feel like we're just kind of playing the hits. It's like, we forgot the sandworms. Let's put them in here. But I will say, Brian, I am glad they went back to stop motion for it, because for stuff like that, it's like, that's just how they look. That's just how sandworms look. And so I thought it was good, consistent with the first. Then we get the saddest part of the movie, like you guys have already touched on. Dolores found Bob. He ain't going to be in Rush Hour 3. I loved Beetlejuice stopping Jeremy. I thought the reveal was fantastic, and it was funny. I liked it a lot, and I'm ready for the ending.
You know, I actually had he's not going to be in Beetlejuice 3 on my notes, and I thought, I don't know if I can tie that into Rush Hour and make it be good, so I deleted it. So you did it better.
That's one of the greatest bloopers of all time. He ain't going to be in Rush Hour 3.
It really is. And like on the same blooper reel, Jackie kicked the door. Jackie. He goes, yes, Chris Tucker. Like that just cracks me up every time.
Yeah. I might get rewatch them bloopers after this. Oh my God, my wedding, Lydia yells and runs to the church. Ashley says she doesn't have to do this and questions if she's sure. Rory hugs Lydia and he tells her all the people here are influencers, no one under 5 million followers. Beetlejuice appears and says Asher can't say her name and says their deal was marriage. Beetlejuice injects Rory with truth serum and he admits he thought her act was bullshit, only wants to marry her for her money, and he never had a dead fiance. Lydia punches him away and Beetlejuice has the influencers look at their cameras and they're pulled into their phones by their faces. Wedding time and Lydia is back into her red dress. He begins singing to her, then the preacher sings, then the cake emerges. And if you were to say this runs on too long, I wouldn't disagree with you. Lydia begins to sing, then Asher and Delia sing and dance. The singing and dancing continue around the cake as Beetlejuice gets emotional. Wolf sneaks into the cemetery with his detectives as the couple elevates into the air. Wolf and Co. dive through the windows, but Juice freezes them. Dolores enters the church and walks the aisle. She pushes Lydia away as Astrid gets the deceased book. She figures out how to bring the sandworm into the church, which eats Dolores and Rory. Damien uses the opportunity to sneak away, and Astrid says the contract is null and void since he violated Code 699. She says his name, and he gets fat and floats into the air and explodes. Should have gotten married in Vegas as he disappears. Wolf and Co. come and he takes Delia with him. Delia threatens to haunt them with Charles. Lydia and Astrid hug, and the Soul Train fires back up. Delia finds Charles, and they embrace. Lydia addresses her audience and says this is her last show. She's ready to start living with the people she loves. They're on a vacation, and Astrid sees a man she likes, and we see they've gotten married. She's in labor now, but it's the evil Beetlejuice baby. It crawls on the wall and ceiling until it falls into Astrid's lap. Lydia wakes up from her nightmare, and Beetlejuice is beside her. I just had the weirdest dream, but she wakes again, and he's not there. Brian, that's the ending. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I thought it was a good ending. Such a fun wedding bit. I would say that after watching the whole movie, it probably went on a bit long. But if they'd cut what I wanted them to cut, I think it would have been a lot shorter and I would have enjoyed it. They didn't have to cut this wedding bit any. Here's another fun fact for you that I thought was awesome when I found out. The red tuxedo that Beetlejuice wears here is not only the same style as the one that he donned in the original film, it's the exact same piece of wardrobe from the original film. Burton said the tuxedo in the wedding scene was his original tuxedo. Michael, quote, I think he called Warner Brothers and they still had it, which is crazy to me. And for Michael, it was a big deal. Also, according to Burton, or Tim, as I like to call him since we're tight and friends and call each other all the time, the tuxedo still fit Keaton perfectly, which he was proud of. So, crazy. But yeah, I thought this entire ending was great. Beetlejuice blowing up like a balloon and popping once Lydia said his name 3 times was another gag, I think directly writ from the 90s cartoon as well. I used to watch all the time. My only nitpick with it was that this should have been the first time that we saw Charles as Delia got to the afterlife. And then I think it should have only been from his back and not seen his face. Although I know we saw his face in the picture, so they obviously paid for his likeness, like we mentioned earlier, but he shouldn't have been a half person. I don't know. It just drives me nuts. Otherwise, not a bad one.
I love this wedding bit scene here, right? I mean, Beetlejuice kind of crashing the original wedding with Rory. I think Keaton is great there. And like we all kind of knew that Rory wasn't going to be on the up and up. Dude was in it for the money, which, you know, in the words of Dustin, you know, maybe that's just women getting a taste of their own medicine there is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing from my guy right there. Now, hey, what can you do, right? I will say, and maybe this is a hot take, but this scene with the singing and the dancing, it runs long for me, man. Like, I'm not a big fan. It reminded, and this is just PTSD, I guess. It reminds me of the Repo genetic opera movie that we had to do. Like, I don't know. I wasn't a massive fan of it. I mean, it's funny. Keaton and Ryder are fun here, and Ortega and O'Hara, but like, I don't know, just not very compelling for me. I could have gone without it. Now, everything after was very fun, very nostalgic, and I love the use of him, breaking the rules to get out of this wedding contract. thought that was smart writing, and honestly, didn't think the dealer was dead. Right? Like, I thought that that was going to be all one big misunderstanding. It turns out she's also dead, but by the snakes. Keaton with his line delivery that should have got married in Vegas on his way out, I thought was really, really fun as well. I will say, I can't tell if they all hate Jeffrey Jones or not, because they're featuring his character a lot, but man, they had him die a brutal death, and he's here fucking headless. So, like, I don't know what the creative choices there were, but I just would have left him out of the movie altogether. Last thing, I like this ending montage, this montage dream sequence combination that we get with Lydia. I think it's funny. It works. I was not expecting this far look into the future, and then Ortega's having a baby, and it's baby Beetlejuice, and scares the shit out of her. I think it was a really funny way to end the movie. And despite what you said, you could make a sequel out of that. I kind of hope they don't, though. Not because I like this movie. I think I got everything I needed out of a sequel. I wish it would have been made a little earlier, but I am glad that we have it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. As far as options go, Beetlejuice is definitely the better one for Lydia. Like, Rory sucked. You know how bad of a person you have to be for me to say that you should pick a demon instead of a human? He's awful. The song number in the church was entertaining, but man, it just went on way too long. I grew bored with it the first time I saw it in the theater, and even more bored with it this time. And then you're telling me that the primary storyline of this movie, you know, Dolores being a dangerous threat to Beetlejuice, was ended with just a sandworm, no fight, no major tension, no showdown. Like, that's it. Like, that was disappointing to me. I can't lie. And then what happened to all the people that got sucked into their phones? Shouldn't they have reappeared when Beetlejuice was defeated? Like, they're just in their phones forever. It sucks for them. I will say the one last Beetlejuice pop-up was funny, you know, with Astrid's childbirth and then him being beside Lydia when she wakes up. It's like one final laugh with the juice to end on for a movie that was just slightly better than okay to me.
All right, guys, on to our social media comments and questions. I'll go first. I got the Instagrams pulled up. We got one comment from Jesse Kraft. Dolores is the most underrated character in this movie. She definitely needed more screen time. You know, I'm never going to argue with seeing Monica Bellucci on the screen more. And her and Tim Burton broke up, apparently. And check your DMs.
Relax.
Check your DMs.
Relax.
Hey, Brian Ortega, mind your business, pal.
I don't know. It's weird you called me that.
You got Facebook pulled up, Brian Ortega?
I sure do. That's weird. Sean Irwin says, Justice for Bob, overall decent movie, but not quite the magic of the original. Agree with you there, Sean. And we love you, brother.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, pulled up. Andrew Ferguson said this movie should have been, or would have been, so much better if they would have just cut the Charles and Delia subplot altogether. We all agree there. A solid. Randy Smith said a solid sequel 30 plus years later. My 4-year-old daughter prefers this one because of Bob. OG is a 10. This one is an 8. Always go effing dogs. Yes, for whatever reason, Bama has Kirby's number. And Florida State has Bama's number, so I guess we own the dogs too. Randy, suck on that.
Y'all guys got any trivia you want to share?
36 years after, and I should have said this during the movie, but I had too much going on or talking running my mouth. But 36 years after Beetlejuice, obviously, this film finally reveals that Beetlejuice did live during the Black Plague and grave robbed. And this is why he said he had a great time during that era to Adam and Barbara in the first one. And again, I love that set of scenes.
All right, I got a handful here. Tim Burton said that Michael Keaton didn't rehearse before going on set. He's just the man. Jenna Ortega first learned about the sequel a couple days after Wednesday, 2022, dropped on Netflix. Burton called her to come into his office to chat about Wednesday, and when she got there, he plopped down the script and asked her to play Astrid. I think that's pretty cool. Danny DeVito was one of many actors considered to play Beetlejuice before Michael Keaton was cast in the original. I did not know that. I thought that was cool, so it's good to see them together here. And Christopher Walken was originally offered the role of Wolf Jackson before it was given to Willem Dafoe. That's interesting. One of the first Afterlife waiting room patrons Tim Burton conceived for the sequel was a hot dog eating contestant that ate himself to death. And he wanted to cast a real competitive eating champion in the role. He added, I was inspired by Joey Chestnut and his annual 4th of July hot dog eating contest in his wins. I actually wanted to get him to play the character, but he was in training for another big 4th of July. So respect and love, I still did the character. So in respect and love, come on, can we just think about how ridiculous that is? Joey Chestnut said, "No, I can't be in Beetlejuice 2. I'm training for a hot dog eating contest."
Bro said he wants to eat Glicks more than be in a big movie.
Insane. Brian, you already said this one. Producer Brad Pitt, he was originally supposed to cameo in it, but I just wanted to shout it out again because Burn After Reading is one of my favorite Brad Pitt roles. Like, I love that movie. I wish that he could have made that cameo. And then the last one I've got, we're just going to keep it short and sweet. Jenna Ortega was, of course, in Scream with David Arquette.
Also, I appreciate that you wanted to see Brad Pitt in a movie, buddy. Good job, man. That's good stuff, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, certain roles, yeah. He was fantastic in Burn After Reading.
Hey, F1
Most
was
roles.
a banger.
F1 was, but not because of him. It's just a good movie.
Come on. He was a...
Yeah, he was good in it, but you could plop a number of other actors into that role, and it would have been just as good.
Hey, Matthew McConaughey would have been fire in it.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
So would Ethan Hawke.
Fuck off.
Ooh,
So would Ed Norton.
no. Well, maybe.
Mike, you haven't even seen the movie.
I don't need to. I know. I don't need to.
That's what?
I don't need to see it. I already know. You name people that aren't. Well, you name people that aren't as good an actor as Brad Pitt, so I can already tell you.
You have the budget.
It's just as. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, approximately $100 million was this movie's budget, and had a worldwide gross of about $452 million. And before we get out of here, I know we kind of already referenced it. I did want to give a special shout out and prayers to listener, fan of the show, Sean Irwin. I've known Sean basically my whole life, and him and his wife Sarah, big fans of the show, very loyal for a long time. We've had both of them on the show. Sarah made us watch Rubber, and I know you're going through a tough time, bud. Just know we're here for you. We're looking forward to reviewing the Tremors film that you picked for her, and so I felt it to let you know, man, we're thinking of you, buddy.
Absolutely. We love you, Sean. Heartbroken for you, brother. Let's jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. I'll just go first real quick. Dustin and Eden jot down our scores. I didn't pick a favorite and least favorite kill because, it's a fucking Beetlejuice movie. I love this movie. I have a good time with it every single time I watch it. I'm not going to argue with you if you say there's too many moving parts, stories too much. I will agree that Monica Bellucci didn't get enough screen time. But, Tim Burton, he was just looking out for his old lady, put her in the movie. And, I saw a TikTok comment that said, a lot of people say that her character served no purpose, but her purpose was to serve. And I thought that was poetry. Like Edgar Allan Poe couldn't have written anything better than that. I just have a good time with this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I give the movie a 9.
Okay. I'll go ahead and go. I did pick kills. Favorite kill, I don't know. I didn't love any of them, but I'll say Danny DeVito because it was unexpected when it happened, and it showed the power of Dolores. Least favorite kill, I have a clear-cut winner.
Don't say Bob.
No, I would say Bob because R.I.P. Bob. But the dry cleaner owner takes it because it was just shoehorned in. That whole scene was so unnecessary. Although Dolores' death was pretty disappointing to me. Like I said, sandworm. Okay. As far as my final thoughts on the rating, I just don't love it as much as I wanted to, and definitely not as much as the first one. The theater experience was great. Seeing everyone all excited and dressed up for it, that was fantastic. But the movie itself, to me personally, was disappointing. That being said, I didn't hate it. It had plenty of entertaining moments, so I gave it a 7.
I'll let you go last. It's your pick, man. I didn't pick kills either. Again, it's Beetlejuice. I didn't really think about it that way. I guess all the soul sucking, if it was done by Monica Bellucci, they're all the best killed then. Anyway, but the movie's very entertaining for the most part. It does run a little long and feels bloated at some times. I feel like Brian kind of referenced it. They try to start a couple different storylines, and there's a lot going on. And I feel like for once, maybe this could have been 2 movies, really, because you could have fleshed it out a little bit more than we got to. And so, I feel like the runtime feels long because there is a little bit of bloat, though. So it's hard to kind of find that right balance, right? But the stuff that I do like, I really like. I love all the character reprisals from Keaton, O'Hara, Ryder, all them. I think they do a great job. I think Ortega's great in this role as well, so she's a nice addition to this cast. And again, it's a negative how much they featured the character that Jeffrey Jones played in Charles. Like, I can't not put that in here because that is the way that I feel. It's not going to weigh it down a ton, but it is something that I didn't think was necessary or like. But all that being said, I am glad we got to live in this universe again. Beetlejuice, this fun Tim Burton, wacky, kooky, zany verse that we get to live in. So I give the movie a 8.
Very nice. My favorite kill was also Danny DeVito, and my least favorite kill, like I just said while I was interrupting Dustin, was Bob. Justice for Bob. Again, I like it. I feel like it's a worthy sequel. But again, I feel like it could have been 2 movies. I think they should have shot this and then cut it up into 2 different movies. There's a lot to unpack in this one. It was fun. It felt almost like the old 90s cartoon I used to watch than the kind of original movie, though, despite the nostalgia. I gave the original a crazy high score. This one isn't going to quite get there. I gave it an 8.5. I think it is a fun Halloween time October movie.
All right, that gives us a composite score of 8.125. IMDb's is 6.6. Letterboxd is a 3.2 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes, 75%. So, yeah, makes sense. Checks out.
Hell yeah, I'll take that. I like this. I just really enjoy it. It's just a fun movie to me. And I did get to meet Bob's actor, Nick Kellington, at Spookala back in April. Such a nice guy. Shout out to him. Guys, any final thoughts on Beetlejuice before I just shout out our blood donors and Mike can announce his pick for next week? All right, let's shout out our blood donors. Really appreciate y'all. Take a huge burden off of us, help us pay these bills. Our camper level reoccurring, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, and Anthony Andrews. Camp counselor reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. Really appreciate y'all. Like I mentioned, you take a huge burden off of us. This podcast is not free to make, so you help us by paying the bills, and it means a lot to us. We mean that sincerely. We don't just say it. Mike, your pick is next week. Go ahead and announce your pick, brother.
Yeah, I was looking for, fun October movies to do, right? You kind of go either try to go really scary or really like what I want to be in the mood for in October, and that is a slasher movie. And so while this isn't like a traditional slasher movie, it's pretty damn close. I went with 2025's Clown in a Cornfield. Very, very excited to cover the movie. You guys did an instant reaction, and I also watched it over the summer, so I've heard that. And I'm interested to hear if anybody's thoughts have changed since then. So very excited to go ahead and cover that.
I'm looking forward to it. It's a fun little movie. Katie Douglas, call me sometime. Brian, end it. Don't let Mike intervene. End it.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody.